Let's talk about asymptotes to graph of a function. An asymptote to the graph of a function f of x is a straight line. Here in this course we will just consider straight line to be an asymptote. In advanced courses you may get other curves as asymptote also. So an asymptote to a graph of a function f of x is a straight line such that as the graph of f of x goes towards either positive infinity or negative infinity, the distance between the straight line and the graph of f of x approaches towards 0. Let us consider an example, y equals to 2 to the power x. This is an exponential function, the graph of that function. And now, whenever we go towards negative infinity for this blue curve, then the distance from the blue curve and the x-axis would be lesser. Okay, so this is the distance when we were in positive side. Then when we are at x equals to 0, then this is the distance. The distance is getting lesser and lesser. It will get lesser and lesser. And as we approach towards negative infinity, then the distance between this graph and the line x-axis goes towards 0. So in this case, the exponential function y equals to 2 to the power x has an asymptote x-axis. Let's take another example where we take the reciprocal function. This is the tentative diagram of the curve. Whenever we go towards positive infinity, then the distance from the curve to the x-axis, it becomes lesser and lesser, eventually going towards 0. So x-axis is a asymptote to this curve. Also, if you go towards positive infinity towards y-axis, then you can see the distance becomes lesser and lesser and lesser. So y-axis also is a asymptote to this graph. And you can deduce the same thing in here also. So if you go towards negative infinity, then the distance between the curve and x-axis becomes lesser and lesser. Also, if you go towards negative infinity in y-axis, then the distance between the curve and the y-axis is also becomes lesser. Yes. So this reciprocal function has two asymptotes, x-axis and y-axis. Now, you can think asymptotes just like to be parallel lines. Okay, parallel lines, they don't meet each other, though you go towards negative infinity or positive infinity. You can take an idea of that, but in case of asymptote, the distance becomes smaller and smaller, but eventually they do not meet. Okay, the distance is very less, but they do not meet. For the purpose of this course, we'll be talking about three kinds of asymptotes, and all of those three are straight lines. One is the vertical asymptote, another is the horizontal asymptote, and another is any straight line. Those are the three types of asymptotes that we will be discussing.